am Nanda and I am going to start with a new topic from 9th grade, that is the very first chapter, that is number system. So I think you all know what is number system, right? So I have classified this chapter into 3 parts, that is classification of number system, identifying rational and irrational numbers, and operation and law on real numbers. So we will be looking more on these 3 topics. So first of all, we start with the topic, that is classification of number system. So I think most of you know what is the classification of number system, right? So the first topic is natural numbers. What do you mean by natural numbers? Numbers starting from 1 is known as natural numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on and so forth. So numbers that is starting from 1 is known as natural numbers. I repeat, numbers starting from 1 is known as natural numbers. The example can be this. So that's about natural numbers. Next we will move on to the next topic, that is whole number. What do you mean by whole numbers? Whole numbers means natural numbers including 0 is known as whole numbers. Natural numbers including 0 is known as whole numbers. So here we will write 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, so on. And we just add a 0 onto it. We just take the natural numbers here and just add a 0 onto it. This is known as whole numbers. Numbers which is natural numbers including 0 is known as whole numbers. So next we will move on to integers. What do you mean by integers? Integers means whole numbers including negative natural numbers is known as integers. Whole numbers including negative natural numbers is known as integers. We will just write this. So we will just write this whole numbers here and we just add the negative natural numbers, that is -1, -2, -3, -4 and so on. So integers means whole numbers including negative natural number is known as integers. Now we will look on to rational numbers. I hope you all know what is rational numbers. So rational numbers means numbers which is in the form of p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equal to 0. Rational numbers means numbers which are in the form of p by q, where p and q are integers and q are not equal to 0. Rational numbers means numbers which is in the form of p by q, where p and q are integers. I means integer and q is not equal to 0 is known as rational numbers. Here we have some denotations for each of these topics. Natural numbers can be denoted with a letter that is known as n, and whole numbers can be denoted with the letter that is W, And you know, integers can be denoted with a letter, that is I, and even we can use Z. Here we have rational number, it is denoted with Q. So we can just revise once again. Natural numbers means numbers starting from 1 and it can be denoted using N. And whole numbers means numbers which are natural including 0 is known as whole numbers and it can be denoted with W. Integers means whole numbers including negative natural numbers is known as integers. And integers can be denoted with the letter I and even we can use Z. And rational number means numbers which are in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are integers and Q are not equal to 0. Let me ask you some questions. So 10 by 3. Is this a rational number? Of course it is a rational number because it is in the form of P by Q and P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0, right? So it can be a it can be a rational number. Can this be a rational number? It too can be a rational number because it is in the form of P by Q and P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0. Now one more question. Can 3 by 0 a rational number? No, not at all, because it is in the form of P by Q and these two are integers, but the problem is Q is 0. So it cannot be a rational number. Hope you understood this topic. We will move on to the last topic, that is irrational numbers. So real numbers. Irrational numbers. What do you mean by irrational number? From the word itself, we understood what is irrational number, right? Irrational numbers means number that is opposite of rational is known as irrational numbers. Or it can be said that irrational numbers means numbers which are not rational is known as irrational numbers. Numbers which are not rational is known as irrational numbers. Numbers which are not rational is known as irrational numbers. So numbers which are not rational is known as irrational numbers. So next we have real numbers. Here real numbers means numbers that includes rational and irrational is known as real numbers. Numbers which includes rational and irrational is known as real numbers. Numbers which consist of rational and irrational is known as real numbers. Can you say an example for irrational and real numbers? The example for irrational number is, can be root 3, root 5, root 4, root 5. Then it can be pi. We can use pi. Pi that is 22 by 7 is known as pi. And even this also can be a irrational number. 0.1011011011101110. This can be also irrational because it is irrational because these numbers are not rational. It cannot be written in the form of p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equal to 0. So can you say an example for real numbers? Real numbers we can just use 10 by 3, even we can use root 3 and all, because real numbers consist of rational and irrational numbers. So guys, here we have stated true or false. So we have to write true or false on each of these statements. Okay, so first statement is every whole number is a rational number. It is said that every whole number is a rational number. And here the second statement is every natural number is a whole number. Every natural number is a whole number. Every rational number is an integer. The third statement, every rational number is an integer. And the fourth statement is 0 is a rational number as well as an irrational number. 0 is a rational number as well as irrational number. And the last statement is every rational number is a whole number. Every rational number is a whole number. So we have here 5 statements. Hope you understood these statements and their meanings. Till that, you just discuss these, you just think about these questions, and we will be discussing these answers in the next video. Till that, bye bye. Thank you.